Brant B says, how often and in what context do you tell your children about sex? How do you explain that pop culture is wrong about sex?
All the time through life. Through experiences. So more recently, we had a baby living with us for a while, and her parents are not married. And we were helping a woman who was pregnant and had an abortion scheduled. She was not married. And so like the conversations re-happen with kids, and we talk about it. And the world shows how, like, there's a lot, like we see people in big cities that are lost and confused. And it's like, why does that guy look like he's wearing a dress? Yeah. And we need to pray for him. He's really confused and lost, and he doesn't know the love of Jesus. Like, that's how we're talking about it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
like
an ongoing conversation. There's a misnomer that we call it the sex talk. And that gives you the impression that there's this one talk you have to have.
There's not.
But there's not a math talk. There's not a science talk. There's classes, ongoing education. And we have to do that with our children about sex. Now, people have different approaches, and I'm not going to sit here and say there's one right way and one wrong way. For example, I heard Trent Horn, he recently kind of intimated that he is pretty guarded, or maybe Laura, his wife's pretty guarded with how they talk to their kids about sex. I've always told my kids exactly what sex is.
Our 9-year-old may have said the other day, now listen, I'm pretty sure I saw what that cricket or frog, some insect was doing, and we need to give them alone time because they want to mate, and I feel like he's got a good chance. And so we walked away. We walked away so they could mate.
He's got a good chance. That's amazing.
He's a good wingman.
Good wing. I think if a kid's ready to ask the question, they're ready to hear the answer. And I think that's a good rule of thumb. And I think that just being straight with your children. And I think the reason we're so freaked out about it, the reason we invent stories about stalks and things like this is because, you know, we've been hurt by sex. We live in a sexualized culture, and it makes it awkward, but it doesn't need to be awkward. And I feel like just being straightforward with your children about sex.
Yeah. And then I think also, like, recently we dealt with, there was just some little like teasing and crushes going on with a group of kids from 6 to 15. And there was just some of that going on. And another mom and I kind of talked to the kids, and we're like, okay, so we don't want to do this. Like, what we're doing is and it was like, oh, well, you're going to, and they were like playing like the MASH game or whatever, where you're like, oh, you're going to marry this person. And a couple of the kids were kind of crush heavy, but I think it was like the public school influence on the homeschool kids. So we just hadn't encountered it before. Yeah. And so we chatted with the kids, and we're like, okay, so it's actually belittling to see these guys that we're friends with, that we're playing soccer with every day, that are awesome guys, for us to be like, ooh, which one do you like? And like, we're belittling them, and we're making them less than who they are.
Yeah, we're at least making it awkward.
And making it awkward.
They're just there to be friends playing soccer.
Having that conversation. Yeah. And then we were like, let's see how we started like a little book study, and we read Pride and Prejudice. And then we talked about the characters. Yeah. And so it just let the girls, and it was really beautiful, because what happened was the girls that weren't boy crazy got to teach the ones that were, like, just how beautiful true love is, and marriage, and we elevated it. Like, I think the world's always making it less, like it's not a big deal, and they're bringing it down, and it's like, no, it is a big deal. We need to elevate it, and we want it to be good and beautiful, and people will rise to that standard. Like recently, sorry, go ahead.
No, keep going. Sorry.
Recently, we had a situation where a girl that we've been helping, we were debating, having a conversation with her about her boyfriend and her relationship. And she like had this chat with the boyfriend on her own about things are going to be different. I'm going to do things differently, and I want a standard. Like, I know this is what we were doing before, but I want more now. Yeah. And it was like beautiful. And it wasn't us giving her a chastity talk. It was her being around our friends, our family, and other beautiful families that cherish what sex is and what it's for. Mm-hmm. And this woman in her heart, like, decides she wants to, you know, rise to that. So yeah, I think not being afraid of the conversation is huge too, as you said, and you could go about it many different ways, but yeah, having good conversations.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.